Okay, I'm going over basically the Z scheme, which is photosynthesis. So in leaves, in green leaves, you get openings in the pores and called stroma, and on the surface cells of the leaf, where the green is, you get chloroplasts, and inside those you get chlorophyll, which are these big protein molecules that do all the photosynthesis chemistry. So this is the red phosphates with phospholipids. That's the cell membrane. This is photosystem 2, cytochrome, photosystem 1, and ATP synthase enzyme. So water gets broken up, electrons gets passed along, light activates photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. Okay, electrons get passed along here. Okay, so the Z scheme, which is this, is it's called. This is actually the whole photosynthesis. It's called the Z scheme because when you draw it out, so it takes the shape of approximately a Z like that. Okay, so it's a Z shape. So starts off with water. Water gets broken up, electron gets removed and passed to a manganese complex here, Mn4Ca05. Then Jim Barber first discovered in a previous video. Electrons then pass to a tyrosine, which is undergoes a redox reaction at tyrosine 616. Okay, oxygen released there. It then gets passed to P680, which is photosystem 2. Light activates this. Electron is then passed along. So the electron fills an electron hole in this, and it basically activates it. And then it gets passed to pheophytin, which is a protein. Then it gets passed to plastoquinone, the primary one, which is tightly bound to photosystem 2. And then it gets carbonate ion comes in, and there's 2 electrons then passed to a secondary plastoquinone, which is loosely bound to the phytochrome. It's loosely bound on the photosystem 2, on the plastoquinone, and then you get hydrogenated plastoquinone is released here. Electron is further passed on to a new plastoquinone. This comes from a mobile plastoquinone pool, which is in the thylakoid membranes. So the electrons then pass from the new plastoquinone onto an iron sulfur complex molecule, where 2 hydrogens are released. And then the electrons are passed onto a cytochrome F, which is also present with 2 cytochrome Bs and a heme C. And then it's passed on to onto plasticyanine, which is actually a protein with a copper ion, a copper atom. And then you have electrons pass from plasticyanine onto P700 in photosystem 1, which is activated by light. The first photosystem is called photosystem 2, as it was discovered first. So light activates this, and electron is then activated to P700, and is then passed on to a reduced primary electron acceptor A1. The electron gets passed onto the from the reduced primary acceptor A1 onto A1 phyloquinone, and then another phyloquinone FX, and then another phyloquinone FA, and then it gets passed to an iron sulfur cluster FB, and then it gets passed to a reduced ferredoxin from the ferredoxin pool in the stroma. So electrons get passed all the way along this, these phyloquinones, 3 different phyloquinones, an iron sulfur cluster, then the ferredoxin gets reduced basically when electrons. Reduction is the gain of electrons. And then electrons pass to a ferredoxin NADP oxide reductase. So NADP is nicotine amide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. And then this then converts nicotine, amide, adenine, and dinucleotide phosphate, it hydrogenates it, okay? And this also binds FAD, which is flavine adenine dinucleotide. And this dotted is the cyclic photophosphorylation pathway around the whole of P photosystem 1. It goes right back up to the new plastoquinin there, okay? And so this section from just before the ferredoxin, reduced ferredoxin, all the way up to the copper-containing plasticine is photosystem 1. And then this section from just after the cytochrome F to the iron sulfur is cytochrome B. And then from water going all the way down to the secondary plastoquinin is photosystem 2, okay? So this is basically photosynthesis in temperate region plants, non-tropical. That's the Z scheme, okay? And each of these photosystems and cytochromes are actually huge, complex protein enzymes, which are a whole different ball game and a whole load more chemistry. And there's bits missing here from the various molecules haven't been mentioned. But yeah, this is probably first, second year level biochemistry. Okay.